The Bunny Suit and Other Silly Stories by Ragnarok. This is a series of stories, the first one being The Bunny Suit. Big Macintosh has to help Granny Smith sing to the water, and Fluttershy watches. 2. La Flower's Lament. Madame La Flower contemplates her mortality as she awaits her own death. And 3. A Feeling of Loss. Rarity has been robbed of one of her most precious things in her life, and she will do whatever is necessary. Story 1. The Bunny Suit by Ragnarok. Big Macintosh stared at his reflection in the mirror, certain that he had never felt or looked more pitiful. He groaned in an exasperation for the 9th time. "Mac, get your keister out of here!" Granny Smith's voice called from outside. "All right, ma'am, I'm a-comin'," Big Macintosh shouted back. As he left his room, he looked at his reflection one last time. He hated wearing the bunny suit, but if he didn't do it, who would help Granny Smith with the vital, super important task of singing to the water? With Applejack at the market and Apple Bloom in school, the duty fell to him to dig out the old green bunny suit and throw his pride into the wastebasket. The old thing didn't even fit in anymore. He was only slightly worried that if he moved too much, it might just split. On the bright side, he thought to himself as he opened the front door, there's no chance of any opponent seeing me. Oh, buck me! Big Mac felt like slamming the door shut and hiding in the deepest, darkest part of the house. He didn't want her to see him like this. Fluttershy, his mare friend of 3 months. Big Mac slammed his hoof into his face as he remembered why Fluttershy was there. She had said she'd be coming in by the farm to pick up some carrots for her animals, but he'd completely forgotten about it. And now she was going to see him wearing a faded green bunny suit, hopping over some water pails and singing to them for some inane reason. Miraculously, she had her back to the door and hadn't heard him yet, since she was having a conversation with Granny Smith, who was also wearing a bunny suit. Big Mac took a step backwards, plotting his escape, as long as... "Oh, looky who done decided to show up!" Granny Smith chided as he noticed Big Mac, as Granny Smith didn't notice him. Curses. "What took you so long? Trying to make yourself all pretty for your mare friend?" Granny Smith said. Fluttershy turned around and finally noticed Big Mac. With a big whoop, her wings unfolded. Big Mac stammered, his face almost glowing pink. Maybe if he moved quickly, he could still make it to the Everfree Forest and hide out there for a couple of weeks. It was preferable to the current situation, that's for sure. "You just came in time, young lady. Big Macintosh and I were just about to sing to the water," Granny Smith said to Fluttershy. Fluttershy did not respond, being too busy staring at Big Macintosh. Big Macintosh wearing a green bunny suit that stretched taut over his muscular body. "Ah," was the only sound out of Fluttershy's mouth. "Don't you worry your pretty little head none about this time. Singing to the water won't take too long. You can watch your cold friend participate in the fine art of humbling himself. Now we can get those carrots you wanted. Easy as pie," Granny Smith said. She hopped off towards the barn, her hips making ominous creaking sounds as it went. "Get along, Big Mac. We gotta get some singing to do." "Please don't laugh," Big Mac said to Fluttershy as he hopped past her. Fluttershy's eyes followed him, trained specifically on a specific part on his body. "Ah," she breathed. "Celestia, if you truly are a kind ruler," Big Mac thought to himself as he hopped over another watering can, "please let me die." "I can't hear you, Big Mac. Sing from the belly," Granny Smith advised. Big Mac almost cried as he started to sing along with Granny Smith a little bit louder. He could feel Fluttershy's eyes on him. Thankfully for him, he was blissfully unaware of what was going through her mind at that very moment. In Fluttershy's world, nothing mattered. She couldn't remember why she had come to Sweet Apple Acres, and she couldn't remember why she lived. She couldn't even remember her own name. All that mattered was that flank. She didn't know why she was staring so intently. She'd seen his flank before. It was a very nice flank, in her opinion, but for some reason, looking at it now, clad in green cloth, so tight against his body that she could see his powerful thigh muscles moving, she couldn't just look away. Her blood was boiling, and Big Macintosh's apple was the cause. After a few more minutes of in Fluttershy's mind, sensual, hopping, Granny Smith slowly stopped abruptly, nearly making Big Mac crash into her. "Looks like we're gonna have to cut this shirt, Big Mac. It's 2 o'clock and I've got an appointment with the bathroom," she announced. "Help the little lady get some carrots and then water the garden for me, would you?" "As long as I don't have to sing while doing it," Big Mac said. Granny Smith ignored him, already hopping back into the house. When she was gone, Big Mac sat down, letting out a sigh of relief. "Sorry you had to see that, hon," he told his mare friend. She nodded absently.
"Oh, it's no problem,"
she said, still staring at his hindquarters.
No problem at all."
"Good," Big Mac said, standing up. "I think there's some carrots in the barn, if you don't mind waiting."
"It's no problem,"
Fluttershy repeated.
"Lead the way."
And so they walked into the barn, Fluttershy being mesmerized by the swishing of Big Mac's tail. "Let's see, I think they're in here," Big Mac said, cracking open a crate in the back of the barn and sticking his head in. "Potatoes, some peppers." As he continued listing off the things in the crate, he didn't hear the sound of the barn door being closed, or the heavy object moving across the dirt floor, accompanied by Fluttershy's grunting with effort. "Found 'em," Big Macintosh finally announced, pulling a bag of raw carrots out of the crate. Then he noticed a large pile of crates sitting in front of the barn door. "What in—" Even if he had noticed the yellow and pink blur headed straight for him, he wouldn't have had the time to react. In an instant, he was knocked into his back, losing his hold on the bag of carrots and landing in the large pile of unbaled hay. Fluttershy had pressed him down, her eyes filled with almost a feral desire and her wings standing straight up off her back. She was growling at him like a timber wolf. "Fluttershy, what's gotten in—"
"Take me down!"
she ordered, and then forced her tongue down Big Macintosh's throat. Things went on from there. Applejack knocked forcefully on the door of the barn. "Mac, you in there?" she called out. There was no response from inside the barn. Applejack tried to push the door open, but it seemed to be blocked from the inside out. "Now what in the name of Celestia?" she said to herself. "Big Macintosh, if you're in there, come on out. Granny ain't seen you since this afternoon, and she's getting worried. It's almost dinner time." There was the sound of the pile of crates being pushed away, and the door of the barn swung inward to reveal literally the last pony Applejack had expected. "Fluttershy, what in the hay were you doing in the barn?" she asked. Fluttershy, with a content smile, tired-looking eyes, and pieces of straw in her mane, and a bag of carrots, didn't hear the question. She skipped past Applejack, humming idly to herself. Without saying a word, she took off into the night sky, not once looking back. Applejack watched her go for a minute, before hearing a soft groan from inside the barn. She turned to look at the source of it, and her jaw nearly unhinged as the sight made her put 2 and 2 together. It was Big Macintosh, lying in a pile of straw, a single stalk hanging lazily out of his mouth in a vacant grin on his face as he looked up at the ceiling. He was also wearing what remained of his green bunny suit, torn up almost beyond recognition. The only part of the suit that had escaped damage was the hood and the floppy ears, but otherwise it looked like Big Mac had been attacked by a wild animal. "Mac?" Applejack asked, not willing to set a hoof inside the barn. "Yup," Big Macintosh responded without a care in the world. "Did you just... Yup."
"Where in the...
Yup."
Do I want to...
Nope.
There was a silence. How's about we never talk about this again?
Yup.
The end.